when you think about Krakow, you might think about cobblestones and castles and dragons and myths and legends and trumpet players and all that kind of thing. But you might not know that we also have something much more exotic, a touch of the Orient here in Krakow, specifically on Wawel Hill and more specifically under the castle, something called the Chakra Stone, the Wawel Chakra Stone, which is the subject of our short history today. And it's in the news now because about 6 weeks ago, during the COVID situation, the people who run the castle, the curators, I guess you could say, they kind of rearranged the routes that are accessible to tourists. And they reopened something that has been closed for a long, long time, a part of the castle that takes you down underneath to the foundations to a Romanesque church from I think the 11th century, and some kind of a Gothic chapel down there. Of course, it's ruins today, but among those ruins, somewhere under the ground, is said to be again, this magical stone called a chakra. It's the same concept as the Hindu chakra when it comes to medicine and health and the human body. Well, apparently, the Earth also has 7 chakra points. Oh, did I say the human body has 7 chakra points? So anyway, the Earth has 7 chakra points, and here, of all places, underneath Wawel Castle is one of the chakra stones. Guys, what's your first impression when I say that Wawel Castle is home to chakra power?
What have we become? Why the hell are we talking about this? I've no idea what's going on, and I'd never heard of this until today. I've lived here for 15 years. That's kind of embarrassing, I suppose. I don't know anything about chakra stones. I'm just going to soak it up and, listen.
Well, I think, John talks about kind of like Hindu mythology, but this is actually one of those areas where, these kind of like, they're kind of like corporeal meridians, I think they're sometimes referred to as, and there's an overlap.
High school band.
There's an overlap with the kind of, the ancient Jewish Kabbalah as well, and the tree of life, on which you have these kind of 7 points, and you have the root or the base, and then you kind of ascend through these various levels until you reach the crown, which is a kind of a metaphor for, like nirvana or kind of, I suppose lower down you've got Pearl Jam, and then below them the Soundgarden, and we can be silly about this, but they do have, there are letters from the Hebrew alphabet that are assigned to the various different chakras, and there are kind of mystical beliefs that paying attention or massaging or focusing on particular chakras can help with,
You mentioned that he's had a couple of hippie girlfriends back in the day.
Can I get some kind of gauge? How famous is this? What's the kind of hippie pull factor here?
Oh, it's a thing. I think more so among the older generation. I got no data to back that up, but I can remember about 20 years ago, before this area was roped off, I remember going to the castle and seeing fairly large groups of people, mostly older people,
in caftans,
kind of like rubbing up against the wall, just standing there, rubbing their back against the wall, kind of rubbing it with their hands. There are people who believe in this for sure. Dr. Mike,
can
you make the case now? Just to back up and make the obvious point, people ascribe magical powers to the chakra in Wawel, kind of as a kind of crossover, I guess, to the magical chakra powers of the human body. Can you make as a doctor, can you make the professional medical case for the for the reality of the concept of chakra points in the human body?
No. Okay, it's
so you don't buy it.
Timing.
No, I definitely do not buy it. I went to med school and it didn't come up anywhere. I might have skipped a chapter. I don't know. It's a long couple of years, but no, it's definitely nothing that modern science ascribes to. You can talk about different parts of the body, being connected by the nervous system, etc. This is your circulatory system. But the idea of having veins of energy or power going through specific parts of your body, and that somehow influences your health otherwise, or that it connects to some kind of metaphysical plane outside of that, well, it's just kind of
sounds like some shit David Blaine likes to read about in his spare time.
Well, some people believe that the Earth has these. What did you call it? Veins of what? Energy veins? What did you say just a second ago? I forgot it.
I don't know.
Whatever. Has this kind of this positive energy flowing
meridians,
through that kind of manifests itself with these 7 points around the globe. Now, the legend said
manifests itself how? What? Thundercats?
Through this kind of this positive radiation that kind of re-energizes you physically if you're in proximity to the stone. But there are a couple of origin stories here, but the primary one goes like this, that the Hindu god Shiva, is that the blue guy or the elephant?
I have no idea.
Like Ganesh is the elephant.
No,
I think.
Vishnu is the elephant.
Oh,
right?
Vishnu.
Okay, Shiva's the blue guy, I think. Anyway,
It's a healthy sized pantheon of animal
that's
gods.
a different podcast, by the way. Hindu
let's not
gods.
beat ourselves up here. Let's move it along. You shouldn't have asked that question. How are we supposed to know?
Shiva casts 7 stones around the world, and one of them lands, of all places, here in Krakow. Right, so the other ones are said to be in places like you would kind of assume that would be associated with something like this, in somewhere in India. One's in Mecca. One's in Delphi, strangely, like as in the Oracle of Delphi.
Wasn't Shiva a character in Mortal Kombat?
Probably.
Anyway, just throwing it out.
So yeah, okay.
I always like being katana.
Finish him. So that's the origin story. Now, you can believe that or not if you want, Dr. Mike, but there's something in the human need to like believe in a higher spiritual power that drives people to kind of subscribe to this idea that, you know, there's something going on, and to add to the credibility, I guess you could say, of the whole Wawel Chakra thing. Apparently,
you
like,
can say Viswa.
Yeah, I was going to. The whole the like legitimate serious scientists have checked the radiation levels there, because you know the Earth just naturally produces radiation at certain points, and radiation levels at this point seem to be higher than you would expect.
To be higher. It's very easy to measure.
They're recorded. They're for what they can record with their instruments. There's higher radiation there. So I know I'm grasping at threads here, Dr. Mike, but is there anything you could think of that would make any of this legitimate whatsoever?
Shiva's just like a guy, you know. He's like
the blue guy. He's blue.
No, he's not blue.
No, he's not blue.
He's photographs. He's just
Photographs.
Excuse me.
What? They got tape recordings of his speeches as well.
I'm trying to like talk into a microphone, read the internet, research Indian gods. Give me a break.
Well, look, actually, before anybody else kind of piles in, I'd say that there is this kind of contention that coincidentally, these chakras are in places which have some kind of, cultural or spiritual significance. But I suppose the counter argument is, well, these places came to be precisely because certain types of seers or holy people were actually drawn to the locations because of the presence of the chakras, and thus the places came to be. I think there's an allegation about one of the White Horse monuments in Britain as well, or is it Glastonbury? There's all this kind of like.
But listen to this, right? Shiva is known as the destroyer within the Trimurti, the Hindu trinity.
Aren't you the same person who told me to move on from Shiva a minute ago?
Which includes Brahma and Vishnu. Destroyer.
Brahma is the god of creation,
the god of destruction, the destroyer of
worlds,
evil, Lord of meditation. He's a big deal.
The Oppenheimer quote, yeah.
Right.
Like
sorry, I'm
rough
trying to
beast
find
shambling
something
towards
interesting
the
about
break,
chakras, and
So that's why you're talking about Shiva.
Yeah,
it's a stretch, yeah, but no, from a medical standpoint, I really can't see.
My point is like that. If he was a destroyer, why are his stones so good?
Well,
speaking of stone.
From a medical standpoint, no, they really can't make any arguments for that. And for the different levels of radiation, you have to remember that when they're building a castle somewhere, they're bringing in stones, quarrying materials from other places that might concentrate certain materials and make it slightly have a different radiological profile than the.
How about? Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Mike, but as a medical professional, there's something to this. You should know. Tell us something about the power of placebo. The power of belief.
That was something I want to talk about right at the beginning of this, but it is true. If we're talking about certain types of ailments, the belief that you're taking medication that will help you does help you.
The placebo effect then will be a lot stronger if you're taking genuine fake pills or something.
No, it has to be
genuine fake.
Well, you know what I mean?
Genuine imitation.
Isn't there cases where doctors will try that? They'll give pills.
The whole idea is.
But my point is, rubbing a wall is a different category of, long shot, isn't it? I think most people who rub a wall, they go, you know what, that probably did work.
No, the whole idea of placebo is that you believe it will work. So
that's what I mean.
If you believe that a pill can cure you, it doesn't matter then if there's something in the pill or not.
Yeah.
That might help you. But if you believe that rubbing a wall or standing in a certain place will help you.
My point is, the way our brains are programmed, it's a hell of a leap for the wall rub anyway. So the stats are way against the placebo effect before you even rub the wall, if you get what I mean. Because 9 out of 10 people who rub the wall are just doing it to humor their girlfriend who read about it.
It's not that much of a stretch, because you might believe in a pill there's apparently some magical things that will influence my body. If that's how you understand the way the pill works, then a placebo effect on the same way, if you're standing somewhere where there's magical energy here that would
I
influence...
agree with you in the case
It's about
of
belief.
a true
So-
believer. But what I'm saying is the stats would skew to me. Nearly everyone who took the pill might be susceptible to
That's
the
a cultural
placebo
aspect, because we've been raised in an
Whereas
environment
rubbing the
where
wall, you're
a
already
pill
up against.
is something
So,
that cures you.
Mike, where do you stand on
Fascinating
on
debate.
on acupuncture, for example?
Oh, the bollocks.
That's placebo all the way. I used to think that maybe there was an argument for it, that, you're pinching certain nerves, overstimulating others. But the truth is, everything just says it's about a type of relaxation and a mental state of the patient receiving it. And yes, the fact that you're feeling a stimulation of pain in one place changes how you concentrate on something else. So it's kind of a distraction. And, you get endorphin rushes as well when you get a small amount of pain. But to actually say that it causes you to completely lose sensation in one part of your body or cure some disease caused by an outside pathogen is ridiculous.
Going back to the castle for a second, I mentioned at the beginning that they've kind of
the Chakra
reorganized.
thing, yeah.
They've reorganized the areas that are accessible to tourists. There's lots of stuff at Wawel that is closed off to the public most of the time, or even all the time.
Well, it's a big old castle.
It's huge. And this region, this area of the castle that they're opening now, is closest to the alleged location of the Chakra stone. So the idea, or the speculation, I guess, is that this will draw more people thinking they can get closer to the stone than before, which creates kind of issues for the people who run the castle, because officially this is not something they want to encourage for obvious reasons. They don't want people coming there just standing next to a wall for hours on end. They don't want to be associated with, kind of mystical, cultish kind of stuff. The church is not happy about the idea of, promoting, this kind
Pagan
of
beliefs.
pagan beliefs and whatnot. So it creates a bit of an issue for the people who organize the castle. Again, they want people to come in to see new parts of the castle. They want to show the history of the castle and whatnot. But they don't want people standing next to the wall and rubbing themselves against it, which again I've seen myself in person. So
and they're not exactly Puritans. It's actually a great place to bring a family. Like, there's a lovely bar in the courtyard where you can just get a beer and enjoy the surroundings. And I took my little boy up to the top of the watchtower. You can climb right up there. You can see the whole city. It's great. And we also did the Dragon's Cave, where Daddy had a bit of a fail. But, he was kind of saying to me on the way down the spiral staircase, it's not that scary. It's not. And then when we got into the actual cave, I was like, there's a real dragon. I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry.
Actually, that's one of the arguments for the fact that there might be a chakra stone there, because according to some legends, dragons tend to be the protectors of sacred places with some type of special energy.
There you go.
Yeah, so,
Well, you can sign me up. I'm a
that
believer
might
now.
be the origin of all of this. Wow.
By the way, Dave, you mentioned the Dragon's Lair, Dragon's Cave, whatever they call it.
It is pretty cool. When you get down there, it's some Game of Thrones shit, man.
It's really cool, but it's also an ingenious move by the castle people, because
Get you out of there.
you pay to go in, right? How much is it? $5 zlotys? It's not much.
You pay about 5 Zs to be essentially ejected from the building.
You're paying to leave, because once you get down to
cave.
once you get down to the bottom, it says no re-entry, and you have to walk all the way around back to the front to get back in. So you're basically paying to leave. It's a genius move.
I have to say, the medieval lords would have very much approved of this charger policy. But I have to say, it's worth it, right? Okay, running through a cave doesn't sound like the most exciting thing ever, but it's a very scary cave. I'd like to apologise to my son over there.
Any final
I
words?
immediately clarified it wasn't a real dragon, but we had to go and get pizza too.
Pizza. Final words on belief in the Chakra. I think we know where everybody stands, but it's just strange to me, Dave, that, like you said earlier, you'd never heard of it before. It's not as big a deal as it used to be. Something used to be mentioned in the same breath as the Krakow trumpet player and the fire-breathing dragon and the various other legends of the city.
I've just been zoning people out. Whenever they say something like chakra, I just automatically probably have stopped listening.
That's why your aura is so navy blue with a tinge of pink.
I need to work on my aura. Polish that shit up.
So anybody going to go check it out? Are you going to go try to alleviate some kind of stiff joints or anything like that by going to rub against the wall? Anybody?
Stiff joints. We've had a few of those.
I mean, I have passed that wall recently. I don't think it cured anything, but
Dr. Mike?
a nice day at the castle.
I don't even know which wall it is, so I don't even know if I'll walk past it. So if
You're on the way into the courtyard, right?
Well, since the actual stone is, under everything, people tend to get as close as they can get at any point kind of sort of above it. And they kind of,
Please tell me they don't then take their pants off and rub themselves vigorously
there's no
against
one
the granite
single point,
stonework.
but some points are presumed to be closer than others, I guess you could say. We're talking about it's the northwest part, the northwest corner of the whole kind of complex. That's where it is, more or less.
Don't worry, they're disinfecting
So you get as
everything
close
right
as you
now.
can get. Because again, like I said, not all areas are open to the public. So in the areas that are open to the public, they try to get as close as they can.
Yeah.
That's basically the idea.
And if you visit in the capitals, bring some money to hippies.
Final words, Josh?
Well, not really. No, I mean, I think we've kind of. I mean, if anyone wants to buy a dead horse,
Yeah. If you really want to learn about the Wawel Chakra, maybe you should just go to the internet and read about it.
which we should have done before we started.
No, we
doing
did. There's just not much, so many facts. We're talking about legends and kind of, the mystical part of things, but it's just interesting. Again, a touch of the Orient, right? Hindu gods and Hindu medical concepts and things like that.
Yeah.
Actually,
Right
you
here.
didn't mention this, but one of the legends of where this whole story began was apparently in the 1920s. Some people here in Krakow observed two visitors from India who stood in that area and started speaking in a language that none of them understood. And I remember reading that and saying, I'm pretty sure two Indians coming to might not have spoken Polish or any other language than anybody there.
Must be a chakra stone. Kind of reminds me of when we talked about the Krakow trumpet player. Remember how it has its kind of historical origins maybe in the Middle Ages and during the Mongol raids, but the modern tradition is very, very new. But people think it goes back centuries when it really doesn't. Maybe this is the same idea. This is a kind of a modern invention that's kind of like given kind of like deep historical roots kind of after the fact that aren't really there.
It also, the legend of that also popped up in the interwar period. I wonder if they're making up all their history from that period.
All the best history seems to be made up. What does that tell us?
What's interesting about chakra stones? What makes it good history?
That people think there's a chakra stone from, from a Hindu god under a castle in Krakow, Poland. That's
with healing powers.
With healing powers.
That they are idiots now, always have been and always will be. Is that your point?
On that note, I would like to ask our listeners to subscribe, comment, and donate, please.
So we can make more podcasts like this.
Yeah.
KrakCast.pl, guys. Thanks for listening. Check out all of our back episodes. Look up the chakra stone. Just go to the internet. Like I said, look at the images and you'll see what we're talking about. People standing, rubbing themselves against different walls inside the castle complex. If you've never heard of this before, I understand and I get it, but this is a thing. And if you're Polish, you probably know about it. Your grandmother definitely knows about it. If you're not Polish, again, this might be the first time you've ever heard about it, but this is a real thing.
And remember,
So
if
go
you're
check
going
it out.
to rub yourself, your bare skin against a 500-year-old granite wall, please use some kind of petroleum jelly kind of protectant.